Hello ladies and gentlemen, PvPSkillz here. Today I'm going to show you a setup that improves your win-loss ratio without increasing your skill. Yes, I said it. I think this setup is overpowered. Not as a fact, this is my opinion. So this is subjective in the end of the day. So don't just put a comment, no, you're wrong or something like that. This is my opinion, and in this video I will try to prove my point and try to convince you that this setup is very strong. If it's not overpowered, it's very powerful. It's one of the best builds in the game. Anyways, this I couldn't show my stats because this was, I think, last Thursday or Wednesday, and they were from the editing there were 56 fights. I won 54, and I was like on a streak until 40s. And that's not the point is not to brag that I won a lot. This never happens when I'm playing casually. I just wanted orbs. This is like, I just tried the setup and I said, wow, this is so good. Like, if you're skilled, you become much more lethal and potent. I'm not joking. This is so powerful. So, and I actually not using it in an optimal way. You can use it much more, like make it much stronger. And this build is between 150 and 175, so I'm not sure, and it's a dexterity build 100%, and it has 105 agility, 105 agility. I always go that. I always go 105 agility, and if I don't go 105 agility, I will always mention why. I have to give a reason, because that will be a big sacrifice from my part, because you don't want to get hit while rolling. And after 105, there's no other number that is worth it other than 120. Which at this point you will have frames more than the wood grain ring, the grain ring, that ring from Dark Souls 1, which makes you flip like a fucking ninja and makes roll back stab like a millisecond reaction. Anyways, first of all, the thrusting weapons that I'm talking about are the ones that have 140 counter strength. Now, I know you, most of you, my viewers, know what's counter strength, but for people who don't know what's counter strength is, you can see it in the stats of the weapon, and usually it's down. And what it represents is when your opponent is in an animation, for example, attacking with an R1, and you hit him during the animation, you get extra damage, and your full damage is 100. Let's say the counter strength 100, that's your full damage. But when you get it through the animation, for example, 110 counter strength means you inflict 10% more damage on your opponent. Now, the best rapiers in the game, or thrusting swords, or whatever you want to call them, have 140 counter strength, which are the Ice Rapier, which is the strongest between them, and I'll say later why. Espada Rapera, one of my long-time favorite weapons, and the Chaos Blade, Chaos Rapier, which you don't see that much, but now I see it much more. But before it was a bit difficult to farm for some people, although I was lucky for farming that weapon. And also what else? And the Ricard's Rapier. So yeah, why are these supreme? Because they have 140 counter strength. Now S-Stock has very good moveset and range and all that, and if it had more than 120, I think it has 120 or 130 counter strength, it will be OP. So that's why I think the devs kept it at like made it less than 140. Anyways, now putting this aside, if you wanna even enhance more your counter strength, you can use the Leo ring. The Leo ring, it's all called the old Leo ring from Dark Souls 2, but it's Leo ring from Dark Souls 1. And what it does, it enhances the counter damage even more, but just for thrusting attacks. So rapiers, there's no other attack they have. All the attacks they have are thrust, other than the S-Stock, which has the special R2 one-handed. So, and it's not even 140 counter strength, so I think you have to mention that. But yeah, it's crazy the damage you can get. I think the old Leo ring, gives maybe 10 to 15% more damage on top of the 40% that you've done already. So, and it's percentage based, so it increases a lot. Now you can even buff your weapons, add clutch rings, whatever. My build incorporates the Flynn ring because I always go for physical damage, not because it's superior, and maybe it's actually inferior in some cases, but because I hate depending on a buff. It doesn't mean I didn't try it. I tried it, but I played with physical weapons much more in this game because I just don't want to depend on a buff and cast a buff and all that. I don't know, I just don't like it. And if I want that, I'll just use a resin. But some cases, if I want to go a magic build, of course, sometimes you have to go infused. That being said, the old Leo ring works also for in Dark Souls 2 for magical damage, if you didn't know that. Especially if you're a Dark Souls 1 veteran who doesn't like Dark Souls 2 and you're new. Leo rings works for magic damage, so you can do insane stuff with it. And there's a guy who actually also commented on my Pilgrim's Platoon video review, and he told me something about that weapon that has a counter, because it's the only staff that has counter strength, and if you pair it with the Leo ring, it becomes one of the best catalysts in the game. I'm gonna test that out and do a video if I see an extreme like potential in it, but it seems so from the comment if you want to go check it out. Anyways, now with that said, the hitbox of the rapiers is a bit broken. It hits from the sides, like I don't know how to describe it. Like it hits in front of you, and in front of you also there's like a sides. It hits also on the sides, so people always underestimate. Like it has phantom range. In other words, that's what I'm gonna say. It has a lot of phantom range, but not like the katana, which goes like far, like straight to your opponent. This one is to the side, so that's why some people like try to backstab you or something, or damn, they get hit, you know. And you can get them through rolls and stuff like that. So yeah, the hitbox is very good. Now when you have two of them, when you dual wield two of these badasses, like for example here I'm wielding the Espada Rapier with the ice rapier, you get enormous damage, enormous. Like if you get a counter like person in animation and you get both Leo ring and all that, you can get easily over 1000 sometimes with low armored opponents. Now there's also counter arguments, but now I'll say, well, what's the counter arguments? First of all, they say it doesn't have a lot of poise damage, so it's hard to stun people. The answer, two-handed, change to a stone ring. Then the other counter argument is that letting you changing rings is already a win. To let you change your style is already a win. Don't ever believe that bullshit. Actually, the more adaptable you are, the more you change your style in the game, the better you are off. And I'm saying that from my experience. Of course, this is subjective too, but I always change. I don't think there's a game that I don't change rings. Now what I do, of course, now most of these clips I am using both the stone ring and the Leo ring, but sometimes when I see low armed opponent, I'll just take off the stone ring and just put something else. For example, I won't put Royal Soldier ring. Don't put Royal Soldier ring with the Flynn ring combo, because it will decrease the damage. I've seen so many people have done it. I've actually done it also in the beginning, and I found out very quickly. That was lucky. I actually even did it in my top 6 weapon review, and I pointed out in the video that that was wrong. But in case you didn't know, if you want to go Flynn ring, don't equip the Royal Soldier, because the increase in equip load will decrease a lot of the damage, which almost negates the ring, especially if you wear +2 Royal Soldier ring. Anyways, I change usually to Chloranthy ring, maybe Clutch ring, maybe something like that. So yeah, my main rings, Leo ring is a must with this build, and stone ring when you see heavy armored opponents, so you can stun them. You don't want to get hit while you're hitting them. So if you see, for example, a full Havel, two-hand your weapon, leave your other weapon unequip the other one, and leave one of the weapons. Use stone ring, get 2 to 4 hits, so you can minimize. Because the poise is like a meter, but it's invisible. You can't see it. So let's imagine that it's the stamina bar, and the point is when you use the stone ring and hit 4 times, it will at least take most of the poise from your opponent. So now you can stun them with every hit. After that, you dual wield again and get this counter attack quickly and just finish them off. So it's not a problem. Poise is not a problem. The second counter argument is it's very easy to parry and easy to set up parry. Well, everything can be said on any weapon. any weapon. Granted, long swords doesn't fall in that category, but if you have to play unpredictably, anyone can be susceptible to parrying. That's a weakness in everything, other than, of course, two-handing big weapons which cannot be parried, and some special attacks that cannot be parried. Also, a new tip I want to add. 2 new tips before I forget, because I'm doing this all in one go. The first tip is the ivory straight sword, which you get from the DLC. It cannot be parried unless they hit it from the base. So I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 99% sure, because I've seen many people that should have gotten their parry, but they didn't, because only the blue thing from the weapon hits the opponent. So people who say that this weapon is crap, which is a lot, okay, and I actually argued with a lot of people, are very wrong. This is one of my favorite weapons, especially that it weighs only 0.5 units. The second tip is, it's about parrying, because I don't want to forget. You know, usually you want your 2-hit combo, right? Let's say, for example, I'm wielding a great sword. Let's say the claymore, one-handed, okay? You know, you get for your first attack, and you go for your second. So, yeah, so and then you go back away, because that's your combo. Now, there is a way that I found, which is very reliable. Actually, you can see that a lot in my video, but with consistency and me seeing, like, I edit my videos, so I see the games. Although this is the most boring part for being an uploader. But this special for you skilled guys, if you get 1 hit from your great sword, don't go for the second hit if you're very good in parrying. Usually, 80% of the time, the majority of the time, I don't want to give a made up percentage, majority of the time, they will attack R1. So you backstep after you get your first attack, you backstep, and then you go through the first attack and then parry the second. I've done it so many times. It works. It's advanced technique. I want to consider this one. So yeah, don't go for the second hit, because usually they're used to rolling after the second hit. Now what happens is when you get the first hit and you don't get the second, they think you run out of stamina, especially if you were like in the fight, in the heat of the fight. So they go for the attack straight away, even skilled players. So yeah, and try it out and tell me what you think. And also the ice rapier. Actually, I've used, when I did my video the killer build about the rampant golem, I had the ice rapier as a backup, and I infused it with magic. And when I was playing in the arena for orbs, and that was before I did my the big ass ultra great sword weapon from the DLC from the last boss. I wanted all the red eye orbs to invade. Anyways, I infused it with magic, and I forgot about that. So I think there's many games I'm using it magic, and I'm dex build. There's no intelligence at all in my build. And then I noticed later on when I went to infuse another weapon or something like that, I forgot. I realized that it's magic, and I didn't even feel it because the damage was so high. And I'll tell you why. I suspect that you know that already, but if you don't know, the ice rapier loses almost nothing from the physical damage when you infuse it. I think this will be patched. That's why I always say it's OP. So people can, for example, make it magic and infuse it with crystal and buff it, or with crystal magic weapon, and make it super duper OP. With even PvE, I played in NG+5. I beat the two dogs from the frigid outskirts with the ice rapier, and of course in the always like 80% in the fight through, because I died multiple times before. But it was in the end I soloed it, because in NG+5 when you do it with the summons, it's just impossible. It's not impossible, of course, it's nothing impossible. When there's a will, there's a way, but I mean, you know, it was very difficult. They had so much health, and they respawn, both of them, straight away. When you go solo, the first boss like stays for a while. Anyways, I beat them with my ice rapier, and 80% of the way, yeah, it might break, and I'll just change to the Spada Repera. But if you get the R2, the special attack, you know, that magic attack, and you get it in a counter and all that at the same time, it will do more than 1000 damage easily. In NG, you can, I don't know, maybe take half of the health of the boss. I'm not joking. Especially infuse it and all that, and two-handed, and press R2 at the right time. And yeah, by the way, if you didn't know, you can do that in PvP also. You can get both the magic projectile that comes out, and the thrust, and the counter, and they all can add up. And with the Leo ring and all that. So yeah, and I've seen this setup a lot in NG. Now I've played a lot in high SM, much more, but recently, these past 2 weeks, let's say, because I did a new character from, for you guys, so we can play. Because I'm planning to doing fight clubs for Dark Souls 1 and 2, and even Demon Souls maybe in the future, if that was possible. Tell me what you think. But yes, what was I saying? I forgot. But yeah, it adds. The weapon is super powerful. It all adds up, so you can do. Yeah. What I was saying is in NG, in high SM. Sorry, I didn't see that setup that much because I don't know why. Maybe it was people knew about it now more. But in new game, a lot of people are using thrusting weapons because they're the way to go. They're very user friendly, do enormous damage, and you can. Who are the hardest players to play against? For me, what's that? It's the counter guys, the guys who get hold the thrusting sword or any kind of weapon that has high counter and does nothing until you attack or something and counter you. These are, why is it for me the hardest? Maybe some people it's not, because it's boring also. These guys, they have no strategy other than that. So it's either, sometimes when I play with them, I just stand and unlock and see what they do, and they do nothing. I'm not joking. Nothing. But these guys, if you're aggressive, they will turn the tide of the battle on you. So yeah, this weapon favors every style almost. And they weigh nothing. Look, until 5, I consider the weight nothing. It's Dark Souls 2, you have a lot of equip load. And I consider the Rapier, like you can put them backup weapon. You can put another, for example, big sword with counter strength. Of course, there is some weaknesses that, for example, it's hard. You can't hit more than one opponent. It's very hard. I don't know if it's even possible. Maybe if they were lined behind each other. So maybe you can go with other combos. You can go with Ice Rapier and maybe Warp Sword on your left because it has high counter, for example. You can put a long sword. You can put a great sword. So yeah, this is what I wanted to say about this. And you can make it much better. Of course, I didn't say how to min-max it as like maximum, but yeah. Now on another topic, I want to say also I'm fighting people with long swords. When I mean long swords, I mean the straight sword category. Excuse me, let me light my cigarette. I've seen a couple of builds with the straight swords, not many. I don't know what it is, guys. Please tell me if you know. I fought a couple of people, not like let's say 10 days ago, but it was frequent. Day 4 and 5 and 6 shot me. It's infused usually with lightning. And I don't know, I'm not sure what's the weapon. Is it a fume straight sword? I don't know what it is. But there is a powerful straight sword out there that can 2 and 3 shot you. I think the clutch rings now, which made these weapons OP. And actually I think long swords with some setups are OP, overpowered. Because they are impossible to backstab if they're spamming. They weigh nothing. In my opinion, as I said, they usually weigh less than 5, have thrusting attacks, almost consume no stamina, fast running attacks, although I think they nerfed them, but they're still fast, pair it with the stone ring, stun every hit. I don't know, they don't have weaknesses in my opinion, maybe only the critical attacks. Rapiers also have this weakness, but I don't know, there is some longsword users are just impossible sometimes to like punish or anything. Like you'll need the great shield or you'll be dead against these guys. And I'm gonna try to find out what exactly this build is and tell you what it is later if I find out. And also, yeah, I want to talk about like other stuff too, like how I got introduced to Dark Souls and all that, and how how my love and passion for this game. Because if you don't know already how much I love this game, like never doubt me. I will play Souls until death. I'm not joking. I love this game. I love it so much because the details in it, the mechanics, the gameplay, the multiplayer mechanic, everything. I just love it because it's very different from other games. It's original, and actually, young people, kids, is very hard to play. Like if you're a kid and you play this game and you're like 13 or 14 years old and you're successful with the game, you're a smart guy. This is in my opinion, of course. Everything in my videos in my opinion, so never like take my word like as if it's a fact. But yeah, I'm telling you my opinion. But anyways, how was I introduced to this game? First, I used to play when I was young. I was a Final Fantasy player, so I played 7, 8, 9, 10. 7, I was very young, but 8, 9, 10, they're very memorable, but not 9. I played 13, which is crap, but I stopped playing until university, and 13 I think came out when I was in uni. And actually, by the way, I'm 23 years old, if you don't know. So in university, in the first 2 years or 3 years, I was a hardcore Call of Duty player. Like when I say hardcore, is as much as hardcore now. I consider myself Dark Souls. And I always heard about Demon Souls and how difficult it is. And I like RPGs, but in the end, when I start playing Call of Duty, I don't like anymore. Like I like a game to have an online element. Like if it has good PvE, I like it, but it has also have good PvP. Like I liked Skyrim, but I only played it once. I couldn't play it again, you know, because like it's more story and stuff like that. PvE, and there's no PvP. There's no competing. There's no co-oping. There's no like sharing of ideas and tactics and stuff like that. And you're in your own world, you know. There's nothing to compare yourself to. Anyways, yeah. So I was into the multiplayer scene, so that's why I played COD. I played Dragon Age, maybe also RPG. The second one, I didn't like it that much, but it's a good game. But they say the first one is much better. I think I'm gonna try the third one. But anyways, I was always an RPG player before I used to play Call of Duty, and I played a bit of Battlefield. So one day I said, you know, I want to try a new RPG. I opened the PSN, and I heard Demon Souls a lot and how difficult it is and all that. So I've seen it, and I bought it. It was there. They had like a £10 offer, something like that, very cheap, and I bought it. And I was baffled of how good the game was. And guess what? You will be surprised, and that shows that I was a super noob when I started the game. I finished Demon Souls multiple times without ever knowing there is backstab mechanic. And I didn't know how PvP worked at all. I just thought it's a PvE game, but I was baffled how difficult the game is. Like, it's difficult in a way that's like it's for not smart people, it's for adults, you know. You have to think, you can't just go blindly and play. So I considered it's a hardcore game. Then I played Dark Souls. Wow, you know how much I was happy when I knew there was a spiritual successor. Anyways, I bought Dark Souls 1. I was never human because there was no difference. So one time I was a human and I was between the forest and the blacksmith, so you know that area. And I got invaded and I was like, what the fuck, what's invaded? And then the guy backstabs me and one-shots me. I was like, what the fuck? Then I found out that he's a human. And there's backstab. I didn't even know there's a backstab mechanic. Imagine. Don't ask me how I finished Demon Souls NG Plus without knowing backstabs. Okay? And I finished a lot of Dark Souls 1 without knowing that. When I got introduced to the PvP in Dark Souls 1, I couldn't stop. I couldn't. It's a very competitive game. It's not balanced. I know. That's why many people don't consider it competitive. There's no stats. There's nothing like that. But when you reach a level that you succeed more than you lose, it's very satisfying because you have to build that experience and skill, you know. And then of course I couldn't wait for Dark Souls 2. I was actually 1 year late almost for Dark Souls 1. When I finished Demon Souls and started Dark Souls 1, I think it was in the end of 2012. And I remember as soon as I finished Dark Souls 1, I wanted to see if there was Dark Souls 2, and guess what? By luck, the first trailer of Dark Souls 2 was out. And that was, I think, in December 2012. Which they showed that guy talking like you'll die and stuff. And I was so hyped. But I was so pissed that they were going to release it in what is it called? In like next year, more than a year later. And I anticipated it since then. And when it came out, I loved the game. Like many people hate on it, but I loved it. Because the combat is enhanced. And they keep patching it and fixing it and all that. So if you think I'll ever stop playing Souls, never doubt me. I'll always play Souls. And if you enjoy my videos, I'm very happy that I can share my ideas with you. Like this is the best thing that happened in my life. Like I'm financially stable. I'm a civil engineer, and my biggest hobby is playing Souls games. And now that I can share it with you guys, this is the best thing that I can do, and I'm very happy that some people are enjoying it. And this is like the Dark Souls 1 like PvE was one of my best journeys in my life. It was like a journey. It wasn't like a game. I don't know, it had an emotional impact on me, like the struggle and all that. But of course, once you know it and all that, PvE becomes piece of cake. But yeah, and then the PvP scene is like, I never get bored from PvP. A lot of people get bored, but me, no. Like, I love it, man. I love it because always new tactics, new things come out every time. Every time you hear about new tactics, people share stuff, new builds, stuff like that. I was a bit disappointed. I was a lot disappointed with the SM in the beginning, but then I just adapted. Like, yeah, you gotta adapt. I don't like complaining. So yeah, this is the last fight, guys. And sorry for the long video, but I really wanted to, usually I want to talk more than, I usually focus on one thing, and I want to talk to more than one thing. And guys, tell me what you want to see. Although I still have like 5 videos planned ahead, I wanna hear ideas with you. Like, please share, guys. Like, please. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on my next video. PvPSkillz out.